Come out with a bang. Coach Minzy. Best round here. Remember that.
All right, people, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. People, we're upon a marathon for today. You know what I mean? I'm inviting everyone to like the stream, share the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, so that you can become a part of the Coaches Desk family. Yeah, man, big up yourself. So, so, someone, people, has decided, yeah? Someone has decided to join the Coaches Desk base of the last show that we had about football on Friday. Yeah? So, big up yourself, Travis. So, big up, Fresh in the building. Big up Mark Plunkett, Natty Congo, H. S. Small. Big up yourself. Who else in that place? Big up all the persons who are viewing. Properties for sale in JA. Big up on yourself. Those who are viewing and have not yet liked the video, please do so. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. So you can comment in the comment section. So hit the like button. Malik, big up yourself, Malik. Yeah. Calvin X, big up yourself. Chevron, big up yourself. Maureen Ellis, big up yourself. How many medals are we? I don't know, you know. But with enough. With enough. Happy Easter to you, Maureen. I hope you're doing well. You understand? So, John Paul, big up yourself. So, we're waiting on our guest people to join. Yeah? Because the thing is, you know, people. Let me tell you the genesis of this. Paul Watkins, big up yourself. We had the show on Friday, see? And you know the Tiddlywinks boss come on and I say, Kikiki Kinty thing. Alright, big up all my Atlanta folks. Yeah, man, big up yourself, Maureen. Nice to have you on. Thanks to the viewers and subscribers. You know, enough love to all my viewers and subscribers. Yeah? Peter Mystic. Trouble? I don't know if me in trouble. I don't know if me in trouble, you know. But once in this live, you can't say you're free from trouble, you know. Trouble, you know them say trouble dead, eh? But somebody link Coaches Desk, seen? And they want to clear the air about the recent video that we did on the board of directors or the board coming at Dennis Chong. Also, that individual want to clear up their parish in terms of football. Because we said on the stream that a lot of these parishes don't have no football go on, so it don't make no sense. I'm under pressure, Mr. Chong, and there's no football happening in their federation. You understand? So the person sent me a whole heap of things, so if you look and see football go on in their parish and all of that. So I say, well, you need to come on and discuss that. And the person obliged. So waiting on the person to drop in and Yeah, as I was saying. So the person want come on to clear up the air because the thing is that, a lot of parishes no football is taking place. Seeing? I think football is where is football taking place? We know St. Catherine. Me sure about St. Catherine. Kingston and St. Andrew, me not sure, which is Kasafa. The other federations, me don't know what go on in a those. We don't are even if things are happening, we don't hear. Seeing? Of course, the person have name fresh. Major League going on in which parish? Big up at Chile. Clarendon. Okay. So things are going on at Clarendon. Big up to Clarendon FA boss. Big up yourself. Jobless, what go on? Big up yourself in a jobless. So people who just want to deal with this matter quick, because we want this person to come and clear the air. When the person come on, I tell you the person name. See? So even if footballer go on Travis, it not highlighted. So I guess that's what one of the things that the person want to clear up, that footballer go on and I parish them. We are not speaking from an informed point of view. So I said if we don't know, then you need to come and tell who are going. Because we have to speak what we know of. We don't hear anything. I'm in St. Catherine and I know a footballer playing at St. Catherine. You understand? KS make sure his battery is good on his phone/computer is charged. Me can't make sure. I can't make sure, KS. But I hope so. So Westmoreland footballer play Travis Hanover, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, Portland, St. Thomas. No football now go on. Oh, so these are the parishes. But Fresh God say Major League are go on in a Clarendon, Travis. So me don't know. Football so I play in a St. Thomas. The parish president was on Manning's channel speaking about it. Okay. Footballer playing a Portland. I think, yeah. So I guess the person want to clear up them FA. If you follow social media, you see that Portland football fully active. Yeah, man. You know it's a Portland active. Actually, which parish you know? 95 Yemen. All of them are layered code. No football in Hanover. And they only play one team in Hanover in the tier 2. Nothing else since 2019. But even if what we call playing football, do we consider clinics and trials and those things football being played? Grassroots football being played, you call those football? I just want to know. Manchester. Yeah, no football now playing at Manchester. Travis said that now go on. Major League we attack. Oh, Major League. So the Division 2 and them things in account. Do we call kids playing football in PE football? Football, cause that are the only thing happening in Manchester. Mario Russell, big up yourself. Today I'm Earth Strong. Mario Russell, big up yourself, man. Birthday shout out to Mario Russell, man. Yeah, man. Big up yourself, Mario. Hope you enjoy the day so far. And your football team no lose. U17. Okay, last month. Tier 2 is the only other league and only one team from Hanover playing. No Major League or no D1, nothing. Okay. Me send you something on Instagram. Yeah, fresh. Everton Jackson, big up yourself. Who do you have coming up from the JFF to clear the air? It's one of the directors, you know. Let me see if I can find it. But as me say, I tell you the name. When the person come on. Alright, we're getting a call. Welcome to the show, caller. You're live on the coach's desk.
Coach.
Who this? Robert?
Yeah, man, your friend never try to mash up the football back again.
My friend them? No, who know my friend?
Yeah. Coach, you don't know what I go and make them a fight against Mr. Chong.
No, me don't know fully. Me I hear a thing, you know, but me not sure fully. Cause when me hear one thing, me try to piece it, you know, and add it and match it.
The man say him now they got no money and tell them give him a plan how him go spend the money in them parish. That's why I see man them against it. When you had a gent set they just Lego money pan them and without no question.
But me hear say I know me hear say I know the money issue because me ask the question there, you know.
At that time
me ask the question there. And one of this source, now give me that information.
Yeah, you know, the money thing is the biggest problem, brother. You don't know that coach, all the people, all this them are going. You don't know that coach, come on, man. You just should know that, man. You man don't talk about some money and money is a problem. It's a problem, coach. The gent said usually when he mean they never usually ask a question and he never want no documents. We say rare, just Lego money for them. And then just I share up the money, give them and sitting. But this a gent say watch ya. FIFA rules come out now where you have to tell people how he's spending money. You understand? So he might tell them say watch ya. Before you get the money, show me how you're going to spend it. And them no want to do that. That's why I see them cause war in the JFF against the man because they don't want all the parish president. Most of them need to go coach and they're too long. They might drain out JFF long time a thief money. And this object can now come with him laws, with FIFA laws for them and them don't want that.
That's
why I start spread room upon the man and I try fight the man.
We say it too standardized.
Lego FIFA money stuff.
we say, Richard, the two standardized right now.
Ask your guests when they come for FIFA money where they want to get in them pocket without sending them the paperwork towards it. That you need to ask them. They might try to mash up a good thing what is going on because JFF is too loose. And the whole of we know that JFF and the parish president, them wanted to run it, the JFF, and it is too loose. Everyone that dip in the cookie basket now they can't dip in the cookie basket like how they want to dip in there. So the whole of them will get mad at a fight against the man. And then I bring all kind of rub up on the man. Coach, coach member say night on top of night with the prior program, coach. I talk about the football federation or them mislay them funds when we get time with us. See nothing now go on like football.
Well, me have to ask them questions there,
Yeah.
Because as me tell you, I went on a little spree and me have a long conversation up to today. Seeing? I'm going to ask that question there if I really the funds issue make them a pressure, Mr. Chong. Seeing? And I was told no. That now have nothing to do with it.
What you think, man? Do?
But if Mr. Chong come in and put in certain policies, I mean, if it is not going according to how it is supposed to done, there's gonna be a pushback. But me here say I know the funds. You understand? Me here say a different thing.
Coach, I hate.
But me I listen to what you say.
I hate that money. Coach, I hate. I mean, then tell you nothing. I have money. I tell you, I have money. You know, say money build friend and break friendship. And the money, JFF it run too loose. And me and you know that. Me and you know that, coach, of the money. And then I take it to nothing of them parish. Say, boss, say, watch ya. Show me what you going to do with the money. Because me have to give account to FIFA. And I like one time. But nobody don't want, nobody a question, everybody a question that. I say if you run the money and a question what them want to do with it. And them lose this thing that go a long time. It's that problem, coach.
Yeah, night just say feeding on the child is done.
Then me I tell you, coach, I'm money, coach. You don't know that, coach. You think we are idiot. You them talk up them mouth, I'm money.
No, but hold on, the MPEC, the person when me talk to, the person is not afraid to disseminate the information, You understand? So, on one hand, me believe the person. But, me I hear what I say. Those could be factors too, but is it the main factor? Me no know. Me no think so.
Coach, then we run football, and the money run football.
Of course, money run the world. No, you're going like saying money run the world.
Yeah, so the way you think I go on. Chatting alone can't do things. Money have to there for back it. Me say money is a problem, coach. Then you gotta get the money free. No go around the corner and beat around the bush with the little liar. Them are the money is a problem. Then now get it like how then you gotta get it. Tell me, I tell you that.
Yeah, hear you, man.
Be a sticky finger in a JFF. Paris president must be a sticky finger them. Tell me, I tell you. And money is a problem. And no man can't tell me nothing. Me stick my head out. Them money is a problem. Because me say that come from out there. So say, most of man them say boy, how someone I come with the rules that talk about say we fi show you how you're gonna spend money.
And that never used to happen, that you say?
And that never usually happen. The next gen say never usually question them, then him just send on the money.
So there was no accountability, so them laws and regulation implement and a fire burn upon it.
Yeah. I tell you, I tell you where I come straight from outside, me hear from good source, that where I come from there, Majority of them that question say, where does somebody come from? I come bringing rule, but say we have to show how money spent. And they don't want to do that. Because next gen set never do that. Because all of them are bosom friend them just run, them just use the resources as how them feel like.
Hey, fresh got it easy, you know. Where's Robert, you put head for the block.
Yeah, man, I tell you, coach, so all when you them come talk about this and that and rare. And millions of dollars them take them there, and this man come and say, watch it now happen so again. You have to show paperwork, we say, watch it. And this you are gonna do. And that the money do. And them don't want to hear that. And they want to go buy them Benz and buy how much taxi put on the road and sitting. I don't worry about parish football. I think we are idiots.
So we say a parish president of Benz and drive?
They take Ricketts Benz with it.
But a man are no parish president, brother. A man a president.
Yeah, but he once was.
I think they took away it because it is a part of the whole
courthouse business.
Yeah. He have to pay up the money, you know.
I know say a bailiff come in.
So me hear say bailiff roll in for it, yeah.
Coach, brother, remember me tell you this. JFF money football money they are going to football, and you hear how much complaint the team them are complaining and who are left for airport and all kind of sitting back in idea, all kind of craziness, and you wonder where money are go. You understand? The girl them a get money and it a disappear and all them kind of sitting there in them fear pan. See they like sending money and it gone, they disappear, you know, wonder how it a go. The parish president, what make you think them they stick together, coach, and a 14 them, my crickets and the whole of them, and them can't lose? Because of the money. I know this a man I say, watch ya. The money now go run so. Because he try to build up his reputation, he try to keep his reputation going, and them not like that. Him set the rules to lock off the money. If you can't get account feed and tell you how you're going to spend it, it will go stop. And now Lego tell you can put pen to paper and say, well, this is spent for, and show me say that is spent for. And then can angle that. And then now go angle that, coach. Remember me tell you, and you know Jamaica run already. When money Lego it pass to 15 hand before you reach the right person.
So you get some of my money?
Me? Get what kind of money, coach? You must say America me live in, man. Them have money for give me. A US me spend no, coach.
So hold on, US to spend in Jamaica too? Watch it, you know, Robert.
Me I try to tell you, say, they not go walk with me, though. Because I know in them thing. But coach, remember me tell you this. I'm money, coach. I'm money. No more argument, no did it. This a man run JFF clean and then can't angle that.
So that's why the parish president them a pressure him.
Yeah. Them can't angle that, coach. Watch and coach, everything will come out. You remember me tell you? Every story will come to
But somebody link me, you know, Robert. One night Friday night when we do the show, you know. Somebody link me and say it's like basically the person say me not see nothing yet. Because more to come. You understand?
Them can't get them can't get I hear them attack, them can't get to this man, you know, cause all of them election. They want the money to go spend in an election, you know. They want the money to go spend to get them vote back in, getting them vote back, you know. And then get the money to go do as them deal on peace where all time people that's, you know. So that's them problem, you know. That's why them pressure this agency, you know. Tell me, I tell you what go on. You think, hey, at the first JFF for go start run good coach. You know, see man I try coach. You know, so hard him man work, brother. None of them never had work. None of them never had work like this man. I will just man just come 5 months now or 6 months and do amount of work for this little youth. But this agency can do. And years we can't even hear from the one who did it. Years into the fan we can't hear from him. And when they come out contact, then come out and bully people with them bully talking. Like so nobody enough to ask them nothing. You think we forget coach?
Yeah.
You think we forget?
Hold on, we have the guest is on enough. We see the guest coming out of the waiting room, but it is saying that the device not connected. So
he might not come.
No man, you da reach this so Robert, they mean the person now come man. All the person would have reached in the waiting room.
More my friend Cataract come on come ask him some question too. You have to allow people come ask him some question too.
No, hold on. Hey, you go tell me I'm to run my show, boss man. Me feel low people if you come on come ask question. I bad up that you know. Virgin, right now. If you go and talk too hard, you know, card there, you know. You think I'm gonna tiddle wings to get card in there? No man, you know come on my show and say that. Hold a yellow card. Hold that. That a flash. No man, you can't come bad up. And me I done around here, you know. See, you can't come bad up my show, man. So you're depend on a warning, you know. Anything else I already know.
Yes, sir. Coach, man, I get away with too much, coach. I tell you, them Paris president, yeah, man, them I get away with too much, man.
Yeah, you can't come bad me up on my stream. So you depend on yellow, so be careful of your talk now. You depend on landmine. You understand?
Coach, me don't know. All them man I get away with so much, coach. Over the years, them a parish president, and then still a vote. Then still not them parish, and then still I get voting, coach. And what them I do stuff? Eh? And Jamaica football now improve. Man, them a shot down the money star. God no. Tell me, I tell you. Me I go listening still no.
Yeah man, big up yourself. Yeah man, big up yourself.
Yeah.
Robert free that red card now, so make sure run. Where you say me nah be humble real baller, me not understand the argument there. Hey, what go on? Coach be humble, bro. Me not understand that real baller. Or am I not being humble? Don't me give man a yellow card. The man can't come and bad up a thing. Eh? Nothing for football but them and them friends very happy. Welcome to the show, caller. This look like Black Prince.
Oh, Black Prince here, man.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, Black Prince. What go on?
What's up, bro?
We're there, here, man.
Well, let me first say, I come with peace, so I'm asking you, sir, please don't show any color any at all, no, with caution in the box. I come with peace. You understand? I don't see no yellow card, no pink card, no purple card.
Alright. What on the Black Prince? The guest is here, you know. The guest is here. The guest is here.
I hope I listen.
Yeah, man. Hang up and listen and then you call back a little more. Alright? Hey, Cataract. Man, you get... Hey, remember say... If you're there on the sideline in a Cataract, you can get yellow card, you know. So don't come talk about me Bex through this, no. The man can't come bad up my show, brother. Guess you're in the waiting room. Can you turn on the camera and let me know that you're ready to join so we can add you? We can't get look light. Alright, so you're ready for log on. Alright, people, we have president of the St. Thomas FA. He's gonna be joining us. His name is what? Wayne Thompson. Yeah. Wayne Thompson will be joining. We can't get some more light, Mr. Thompson. People them want to see, you know. Alright, I'm gonna add you now, sir. I'm gonna add you now. Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah, man. Welcome to the coaches desk, sir.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here. My first time.
Yeah, man.
But I've always been a listener, by the way, to all the platforms. I list them. Probably
Yeah.
not live. But I think they would have provided useful information. So I'm always in tune.
All right. So
I want to say good night to the listeners also.
and the viewers.
I know the listeners and the viewers are well pumped up because our parish president is on the line.
Yeah, man. So people, Mr. President watched the show last Friday, or probably watch it after. He probably never watch it live. Seeing? And he messaged me to let us know that football is playing in St. Thomas. So St. Thomas is one of the parish that football is being played. Talk to us about the level of football and how much football is being played in the parish, Mr. Thompson.
Right. So I think the clarification is important, and it's not just about my parish.
Mm-hmm.
It's about us having an understanding, because I know persons here have a vested interest. This is why they come to the show.
Yeah.
And I think there are opportunities, even though I know we may sound so aggressive to each other, there are opportunities because we're all stakeholders in the business. So, as you would have seen, because I sent you our plan, at the St. Thomas Football Association, we try to be very business-like with this affair. So we always develop our strategic plan, and then every year we have our operational plan with all the targets we would have set. You would have been aware that the COVID would have allowed us to basically focus on planning. So there was no competition which would compete. There was no activities on the field which would compete with activities off the field. Because I'll tell you this, that part of our challenge in football, and if we don't address the real issues, we're going to be talking like this for many more years to come.
So what are the real issues?
No. So I'm saying to you that we would have done our planning. We would have, based on that, would have executed our major league late last year. And we are currently executing the under-17 competition. There are other targets we would have set. You would have seen it, where one of the things we're trying to do is to...
Hold on, Mr. Thompson. Remember your point. Can you turn your phone to the side view so it open up the screen? We barely are seeing now. We know you're in the dark, but the show is an international show, you know, so we want it look good to the viewers, especially those who probably be watching back. Yeah, man, that look little better.
And I know I'm being challenged, as I said to you.
Yeah, man.
Right. So one of the things we knew we had to do, and we hastily set out to follow the model as would have been established based on the MOU we had agreed to professionalize clubs. We recognized that all our clubs had to be a legal entity. So we set out the path. We work with them to develop their articles, and today we're happy to report that at least 70 to 80% of the clubs are now legal, meaning they are operated as a company. There are some would have been registered under the Friendly Society, because remember there are two bodies that register legal entities: the Friendly Society, which is the one under the Ministry of that MSED ministry, and there's also the company's office. Along with that, we recognize, because we are driven by technology, and the people who operate our shows by St. Thomas, they are kind of technology savvy. The General Secretary and the Treasurer was a chartered accountant believe that we have to take, and especially during COVID, we had to move from this brick and mortar type operation to a more virtual operation. So most of our things are being done online. And when the FIFA Connect system came into being, it was introduced to us by FIFA, by the JFF. We set out to register all our players. In fact, St. Thomas Football Association would have been the first parish to have played our competition where it was mandatory for all the players to be registered, players and administrators to be registered on the system. And it's part of the plan, recognizing that we cannot continue. And when we talk about we're not referring to St. Thomas alone. In terms of football, we have suffered from the fact that we have not been operating in terms of the business requirements as we know it. And therefore, that is one of the things that we're trying to do out by St. Thomas. And I am fully aware that persons clearly don't know what is happening. But we know that there are opportunities also, and I would like to engage the members, not just in terms of the hostility now towards any one stakeholder, but how we can work together to develop ourselves and the sport, because it is needed. And therefore, the conversation has to be civil, right? And I am sure that our planning process could do well with stakeholders who are not so immediate, meaning would love to have our sponsors, our potential sponsors, our people on your show who are supporters, and I'm sure spectators, where we can sit and strategize as to how even our lives can be changed by creating a partnership where, since we're so exposed internationally, how we can generate funds for these programs, and in so doing for ourselves, because there's a business model that can assist us in that regard. So those are some of the conversations I'm hoping that we can have, and this is just a start, right?
Yeah, definitely. But one, you don't really tell me how footballer operating at the parish yet. You know? What kind of footballer play? In terms of, is it Major League, Division 1?
We have our Major League, which we would have played early last year. I think I said to you, we were second to Cassava, would have played that Major League. We have our under 17. The under 17 is required for the next Major League. In other words, you can only participate in our Major League competition if you participate in the under 17, and you would have seen, I'm sure you would have seen the results of what is happening really under 17 that we're delivering. Every Saturday we have under 15 boys and under 15 girls as we seek to prepare them not just for the competition that will be coming up, but also we believe that there's a gap that must be filled if we don't have academies. And we
So what about below under 15? What is happening at that level?
So there's a under 30. We have the grassroots, which you would have seen on our plans. We have 4 grassroots to be done this year, plus our summer program. And I mean, we can have a conversation also read the summer program, especially for those of us who are business inclined, because would love to develop a partnership where instead of asking the parents to contribute the cost for the sessions, if we can get support to augment, what the parents can provide, I think that would help with our summer program. The idea behind the summer program is that it's an extension of the grassroots program. So we're talking about 6 to 12 and running it for 4 weeks, and the final week or the final day we want to have a kind of expose the players with respect to some competitive games, 8 to 9 and 12 and 11 to 12. Because as you're aware, that's where we want to encourage the players to play competitive sports. So there's a grassroots that is happening below that age group, which are just the under 13 I spoke about. And the under 15.
All right. So what sort of support you get from the federation? How the money come about that you get from the federation and what it is used to do?
All right. So the federation would have supported us through monies we would have received either through CONCACAF or FIFA. And as you're aware, these monies must be spent in accordance to how FIFA and CONCACAF would have wanted it. So we should be getting support for the under 14 girls. I'm sure you would have been aware of that because I've heard it on your show. And we'll be getting support also for the under 15 boys and other stuff. And I'm sure when you engage the general secretary, he can speak to in a more detailed way as to how these funding operates.
All right. On a yearly, monthly, or quarterly basis, Mr. President, what's the allotted amount of money you get to run your parish from the federation?
Well, I would prefer that to discuss that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can say
Why is that?
Because I would prefer that you have.
Who alone the phone, Mr. President? We see a lot of teeth and gum. And we don't want to see the teeth and gum. Why?
Yes.
Yeah, so why you don't want to tell us about the fund, the money now?
No, one of the reasons for that, I would prefer you engage the JFF around that discussion, because the conversation that we need to have, and it needs to be done in a holistic way. And instead of it being done here in a piecemeal way, I would prefer that you have a conversation. You could have a night when you speak to how the funding goes and how we operate at that level. I think you should treat that at the macro level.
Okay. All right.
But I can tell you that we have a separate that sponsored us in terms of the major league, and we are getting support from SDF with respect to our under 17. For the most part, the other programs that we have, we get donations and here and there.
All right, since I don't want to talk figure, Sir Thompson, the money we get from the federation.
It's a preference, which is why I say it's a preference. I would rather.
I mean, understand what you're saying.
Yes, because let me just say this to you.
Hold on. since you don't want to talk figure, I want to know if the funding that you get from the federation adequate enough to run the parish.
Will never be adequate.
Why?
Will never be adequate because
A chicken feed do not get?
no, which is why I'm saying that you and I know that we will never have all the resources. I'm sure that's how you would have been schooled,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you have experience to understand that there are limited factors in every business. Financial resources. Well, you can tell me I've never seen a business that have all these resources, and which is why when you plan, you have to set targets that are realistic so that you can meet them. And that's why I share my plan with you, because I don't want us to treat with these things as not important, because believe me, we can only assess our success if we set these targets and try to be part of the setting of these targets. It's not about just World Cup to World Cup or Premier League to Premier League. There's a lot of benefit that can be derived without. I mean, yes, everybody would love to go to the World Cup and the Premier League, but there are important targets, and I'm fully aware that.
So the World Cup now should that be one of the biggest targets, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, but let me just say to you, and you're supposed to know this. There are many, many, many countries, and this is just my personal view, right? This is not the view of the Federation. There are many, many countries who would have done well in football, never make it to the World Cup, but they would have done well in football.
But
right?
but we not fit in that line, Mr. Thompson. We not fit in that line, So
right. So because we are ambitious and would love to get to the World Cup, but I'm saying when we set targets, you understand how these plans.
yes, so I'm wondering why isn't the World Cup the number one target? I understand what you're saying, but why isn't the World Cup the number one target?
It will be good to go to the World Cup. It will be very good to go to the World Cup, but it's not easy to make it to the World Cup. But I'm saying to you that there are many more targets. For example, players playing in Europe would love to have our players matriculated in Europe. And I'm saying there's a foundation that is set, by the way, in terms of the player pathway program and the level of training that is happening, that can realize significant benefits. I wouldn't sit here, my friend, and pretend as if the ultimate prize wouldn't be to go to the World Cup or, for example, St. Thomas, the Premier League. But I'm saying there's a practical reality that we have to face, that there are limited numbers of countries that can make it to the World Cup. And granted, the opportunity is greater this time around. But I'm saying if we continue to just think in terms of our success being qualification to World Cup, then all of us will suffer. But the ultimate prize, I would love to see it.
Mr. Thompson, it seems to me then that the main aim of football in Jamaica is to get players into Europe. And whatever come, we pick up the scrums. Because the challenge with that is there's so many inadequacies that is taking place, Players not being developed properly. They go to Europe and they are sent back home. Isn't it better for the team to qualify for the World Cup so that the country will now get more leverage? And it would be easy for players to be exported because of we regularly being in the World Cup.
So you can have that conversation with the technical chairman. But from where I sit, I do agree with you that the ultimate prize, and which is why I say we shouldn't get carried away. We just need to understand and appreciate that when we set our targets, right, our targets supposed to be meaningful and our targets must be realistic.
Yeah, no, but hold on.
I agree with you,
No, hold on, Mr. Thompson. Hold on, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Right.
I don't. Me hear your point about making a realistic target, But I tend not to agree because your realistic target is only looking on one aspect of getting players to the mecca of football. And like I said earlier, when we get them out there underprepared, underdeveloped, they are being sent back home, and it mash them up psychologically more than anything else.
So let's go
Why not focus? All right, if this is about getting funding, I know it's about getting funding for your club or whatever your parish. Me I gonna do a next show upon a something. Me soon telling the people who are gonna go on upon a show. Yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, isn't it better to get the country qualify for World Cup, bringing in revenues, which will be more than getting a player out there that is going to be coming back home? Isn't it better to consistently qualify for the World Cup rather than just...
Right, so let us, because clearly we're not on the same page. So let me try again.
We certainly not, Mr. President.
Right, you remember we talk about the player pathway program.
Mm-hmm.
It's that player pathway program is directly related to the fact that we have been struggling to...
One minute there, sir, before you continue again. You can... two things. You have the option to move away the phone, or you can turn off the camera.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We facilitate it. Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. Right.
Yeah.
So, remember, and when we have these discussions, I hope that everybody understands how, what I'm saying and the challenges that we're trying to treat with. So, we had issues with development of players, and which is why also I would prefer that you bring on the technical director to have a discussion in this regard. But the player pathway program, it is a deliberate step where we would expect that down the road, the players would be more rounded in terms of their development. It's no different from how other businesses would operate, right? So you take them through the pathway program, and that is one of the reasons why the training is so deliberate. Because you would have seen more training of coaches over time, and the whole introduction of the different stages of the CONCACAF licensing system. But I know it won't happen overnight. And I'm saying, based on my experience in planning, we have to be very practical.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not speaking on behalf of the JFF, right? But I think I've been experienced enough to know that when you plan, you have to be pragmatic in your planning, because our development, right, and what we sought in terms of the players needed a development pathway program, which we have just introduced recently. So I would think that when we are matured, and when I say mature, in every system there's a maturity level, right? When we get to that point, I'm saying I am virtually sure that we will qualify to the World Cup if we treat with the development pathway, where it's not just at the national level.
But with development pathway, Mr. Thompson, do you have what are the structural setup that you would have had for what you call it now, coaches development and that said player development? What? Because if they are not getting the quality coaching, that player development is just like sun going through sieve,
Right. So, and the more you ask questions, the more I think that there's a disconnect, and probably we really need to plug that gap with the technical person to come and help us. Let me use St. Thomas, for example. We would have done some training recently, benefiting from what would have set out by the JFF, in line with where we want to go with the football, and in line with the player pathway program. So, for example, we were, most of the coaches in St. Thomas would have been qualified as the advanced level 1 and advanced level 2, as you would be aware. There's a one or two who may have had training in Europe, and so forth. But for the most part, it will be advanced level 2, advanced level 1. The JFF has introduced the CONCACAF licensing system now, where you start with the D license. Currently, we have about 19, so we have benefited from that. And we have another 2 C license, where one of those we're using as our coach educator for now until we can get to the point where we have like a B license or A license. So it's a pathway that we would have established. Yes, that is why we at St. Thomas try to find funds to support the coaches. For example, the D license coach that was done, the 19 coaches would have benefited from that free of charge, because we know we wanted them, and it's not just for the clubs, mind you, it is also for the schools and so forth. We have 2 C license, a female and a male, and we're hoping to increase the numbers over time.
All right.
So as I said to you, and this is why I said the conversation with the stakeholders on the show who are sitting different and probably have different interests.
But they're not coming.
No. So which is why we have to be patient, because again, this show plus others have great potential to revolutionize our football. But we can't be attacking people, right? We have to attack issues.
Hold on, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah, go ahead.
You are saying that we attack people on this show?
Well, I've listened to some of the shows, not necessarily this one. I've listened to some of the shows, and I'm saying to you, and I'm encouraging the members.
No, but when you're on this show now, so I wouldn't want you to be talking anything about my co-workers, Mr. Thompson.
No. So
because the issues we attack, we not attack people.
No, which is why I'm saying that if we focus less on the parish presidents and hold them accountable, hold the parish presidents accountable.
So how if you focus less on them and hold them accountable?
I'll tell you how you can do that. The way how we treat it with it now, it's not gonna have significant value. It's what it's gonna create. It's gonna create an environment that is very hostile. What is needed, in my mind, right, is for us to get to understand and know each other, where we can work with each other, because there are opportunities for every single stakeholder with interest, right? And I'll tell you this. So, for example, somebody like me, who will believe in the football, I mean, I would have loved to have left it 4 years ago. St. Thomas said to me, no. And I mean, it wasn't strategic when I was leaving, because I figured at the time it was just before the AGM. But I felt I would have served the organization and probably would have taken it to a level where, there's some order. But the truth is, we need people to come in to help us, to drive the thing, whether politically, if we want to become a member at the highest level, or one of the ways in which I think, we could talk about is how we can partner where the programs can be funded, and those who are helping us to get the funding can also use this as a business.
You know right? What I can...
There's a model out there for that, There's a model out there, and when I listen to the callers, I know that we can, if we have the conversation, we can turn these things where we can realize serious opportunities. And I'm not just speaking because I'm here on this thing, my friend. I am speaking because I know the power of the sport, and we just need to focus on adding value. And there's a place for everybody.
But Mr. Thompson, you mentioned about you were supposed to leave and the people asked you not to. Is it because there was no suitable replacement? Because this is one of the things too, persons are in positions for years, and they don't mentor nobody, and that is part of good governance and good leadership. You have to nurture and mentor somebody who will have the knowledge base to even take over. No, probably that's not how it is done in terms of, you have to vote for the president. But if you mentor somebody and present this person to the people, then you'd have a suitable succession.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I must confess personally that that is one of the areas that I would have failed somewhat. But I think we're so prepared.
And that is unacceptable, you know, Mr. Thompson.
No, but I agree. No, which is why I want to table that up front.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying I think we're so prepared now that the notice would have been served and the members, we are working towards it. So it's not going to be, the same situation as it was 4 years ago. But I want to tell you this, my friend. And I think we'll learn over time to understand. We need more people in the football.
Mm-hmm.
The football, is not, there's a lot of work to be done. And I'm saying when you sit on the outside and you speak, with the level of enthusiasm, when you come inside, it's a different ball game. But I'm saying to you, it is nothing that is frightening. What we need is just more people.
Yeah,
and I'm saying there are different roles for different people.
But you see, even how you put across the St. Thomas, you have a Instagram page. Do you promote it? Do we know the other persons in different federations? Do they know what is happening in these parishes? So no promotion of the football, people not knowing. So when the people them don't know, they will talk that nothing is taking place, because even if something happen, you now make you know.
All right. So again, we understand why. So I this conversation is about opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. It's not even a blame game, because I do recognize that the opportunity presented itself, and here we are. But you are also aware that the softer skills in our environment, and I'm talking about Jamaica, not necessarily in football,
Mm-hmm.
is one of the areas that we need to develop, because communication skills and change management skills, those skills are rare.
Very poor.
But I wouldn't say poor. They're rare. But we are. I think we are progressing, and we are fully aware of the communication mechanism that is needed to support the harder skills in terms of the football. So we are there, and these learning is not just in terms of football, but it is even our professional life. We sort of invested in projects, and we fail to focus more on the softer side, and it creates a lot of issues. So there are lessons being learned, and I'm saying it's just for us now to look at these lessons, and that's why the planning is important, because every year you're supposed to look at where you are, how we would have, performed based on the targets would have set, and then, recalibrate, So I do agree with you that there are some shortcomings even in terms of my leadership, but I'm fully aware and I'm happy that come this term, the end of this term, we won't be challenged in that regard. We have some brilliant people in our system.
All right, Mr. Thompson, I'm gonna ask a few people to call in. The phone line is now open. I want them to pose some question to you. One thing I want to ask before they call in, though, Mr. Chong, in terms of Mr. Thompson, in terms of Mr. Chong, do you, as one of the board members, give Mr. Chong your full support? Because we're hearing word on the street that the board members are not happy with Mr. Chong's operation. Where do you stand where that is concerned?
Well, the most I would say, we have to give our general secretary support as a board, and that is what we have been doing. I don't know what is on the street, but as a board, we have to be responsible. And that is why I say, you may have to start to have a greater level of dialogue. I'm not saying everything is 100%, but I know the standards of some of the board members, is very high and would have been contributing significantly to some of the plans we would have developed in the past.
But Mr. Thompson, your answer, hold on, Mr. Thompson. Your answer is very, very, very meticulous, you know. You say we have to support.
Yeah, but
so you're giving a general statement there.
No, we have to. We have to. Can remember the product is the product that we're talking about, you know. Is for all, you know. It's not for any one person. It's for all.
Know, but the board has to support. But is the board supporting now? That's the question I am interested in answering. And I want you to be brutally honest.
And I'm going to be brutally honest, my friend, as I've always done. Right? The board is... we have to support our
Jesus, please, you're going back to that, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, you're not giving us straight. Mr. Thompson, hold on now. You see, when you don't give a straight and direct answer, you see the rumors that are going around, the people are going to believe these rumors, you know, Mr. Thompson. Because you say we have to support. Of course, the board have to support the GenSec. But is the board supporting the GenSec? That is the question.
This board that I'm aware of have supported all general secretary, and there's a process. There's a process to evaluate our general secretary, and I'm saying the certain conversation I cannot have in the media like this.
So no, that's why. But you know, it better you did say that, sir. It better you did say that than I try carry me and bring me, because me not go with people, you know. Me kind of.
But I'm not playing around. The board have to support the general secretary.
Yes, and I understand that. That is from a policy standpoint.
Yes, and the support that we would provide to our general secretary. So we meet every quarter, right? We would look at where we are, right?
All right. Is everybody on the board supporting the GenSec?
And that would be a question that you would expect me to answer like that.
What is St. Thomas? In the voice of Mr. Wayne Thompson has to say about Mr. Chong?
No. We don't do business like that. We don't do business like that.
No, but so hold on. So Mr. Thompson, hold on now. Well, couldn't you say Mr. Chong is doing XYZ and we applaud him for what he has been doing and so forth? Is that something very difficult to say, or that is not now the business of you answering a question directly?
No, as I said to you, I don't want to answer that question at this point, because
Mr. Thompson, you see, because you now answer, you sound like, and this is what I am deducting from what you are trying to hide or shy away from. I know you probably cannot say everything, Mr. Thompson. I respect and I understand that. So I moved it away from the entire board and now asking if he's getting the support from Wayne Thompson of St. Thomas. And you're still going around. It sounds as if there's something there that you don't want to share. This sounds like there's a divide where the board is concerned. That is what I'm deducting. But leave it there. We have a call online with a question for you.
But I need to clarify, because that which you have just asked is a completely different thing from what you have been asking.
Yeah, that's why we move it away from that.
We including St. Thomas, right? Who have to support our general secretary. So it's not about St. Thomas.
Your answer is the same way you did answer the first question.
General secretary.
You answered the same way you answered the first one. So that's why I did try and move on. Huh?
It's not about St. Thomas.
No, but everybody play them part, Mr. Thompson. So I'm personally asking. I am not talking to St. Catherine. I'm not talking to Hanover, Westmoreland. I'm talking to St. Thomas. So that's why I'm making it personal to St. Thomas. So I know that everybody has to support the board, whether you like the GenSec or not. You have to, based on the policy and you in the position. But I'm asking you now, do you support the GenSec? If you don't want to answer, say I refrain from answering that question. I make a move on.
Wayne Thompson, as a director on the board, has support the
Mr. Thompson, we have a call online. I want the caller to ask a question because you still not answer the question or more if you answer it. Go ahead, Cataract.
Good night, coach's desk. Coach busy.
Big up yourself. Mr. Thompson,
Good
go around the
night,
thing, man.
Mr. Thompson. Coach Minzy, I need to put a disclaimer there so that the public is aware, because I know it's an international program and it goes certain standards. So I have known Mr. Thompson from the day that I landed in Jamaica, 1996.
Tell us about him, Cataract.
I was his manager on a very important project where we took Jamaica as a part of the Y2K project and made sure that we were compliant or human resource management systems in the public service. So I know Mr. Thompson as an exceptional IT professional who did a lot of good work, many late nights. Those of us there, I remember Gat, but I don't know if you remember Gat, Wayne, but many of us were the late night, and in the midst of working all those late nights, football was a central topic that we discussed. He was trying to understand how I could support Leeds United. They would think he didn't know Leeds was a team. So I've known him a long time. And I also know him as a gentleman of integrity, right? So I put my disclaimers there. And I know he's very passionate about St. Thomas. I should also say that. Very passionate about his parish, right? But on overall level, though, Wayne, I think you have some fundamental things wrong. And that's what this public here and the ultras of who I represent want to ask you. The first is that I believe that the JFF, typified by yourself as a parish president, and your goals and objectives are diametrically opposed to the goals and objectives of the fans, who are your second most important stakeholders. Because if you don't have the fans, you don't have a product, because no sponsors will come on board if the fans are not on board. And the players are your other main stakeholder. But having gone through many stakeholder analysis with you, so you know those things. So what I want to ask is, how do you respond to the fact that the objective of the JFF, and it's not only yourself who has said this, of a number of the officials of the JFF who have come on these platforms, is that what they see as the main objective is to develop and sell local domestic players to Europe, which is the most lucrative market, and that the national team is a gateway to showcase local players, and that those monies earned would go back to the clubs and support the club structure financially, versus that of the fans like myself and Coach Minzy and the Ultras, Siobhan Peart. It's a united. We want all our national teams, under 17, under 20, men and women, senior teams, boys and girls, to qualify for every single World Cup, utilizing the best available players who are eligible to represent Jamaica. And that's my first question.
Right. So you're actually challenging me on that one, right?
Yes, I am challenging you.
All right. No. So let me just say that all of us, we clearly would love to see our teams go to the World Cup. And probably, I may not have said it probably explicitly, at the start of the conversation, I'm just saying that we cannot just have that alone as a target. It makes sense to go to the World Cup because of the injection. I do agree. You plug back money into the system, the recognition, and the whole business of the economy. So I do appreciate that, and I understand that, and I couldn't sit here and claim that couldn't be one of the targets. And if I may have said that before, then I just want to clarify. But we have to set other targets that are also important, and then at the end of the day, we assess how well we would have done. And I mean, you, Oini, you would have been aware of how we plan, because we have to plan for different interests and different stakeholders. Sometimes even have their own interests. But yes, I would want to think that every single person that has some kind of Jamaican connection, whether it's local or international, would want to see the team, and therefore that would have to be a target all the time on our agenda.
Question number 2.
One second. Sorry about that, team. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, man. Well, it look like Cataract mute him phone, so I don't know what go on there, so.
But I don't multitask, and I'm hoping that
No,
I'm
I
not.
just muted. Sorry. If you had a choice of players transferring to Europe and Jamaica not qualifying to the World Cup, which choice would you take? And I only have 2 more questions, and I will free up for other persons, as I said. Because that goes to the heart of what's at the JFF.
Right. So again, that in itself, we would need to provide data to drive which would be more important. You can't just sit here, especially when you look at the how it would affect our economy in terms of the players going into Europe. However, from where we sit at this time and the benefits that are generated from the World Cup, I would want to pick that, especially in the short run, because that would provide the machinery and the resources to get the latter.
Okay. And Coach, I'll be quick again.
Last question, Cataract. Some other people are calling here.
No, I have 2 quick ones.
I'll make them
on
short.
the issue of accountability, I want to ask Mr. Thompson. Yeah, man. Sure. Can you tell us the board's perspective on the accountability that guided the decision, or how did the board of the JFF come to the decision to retain the services of Coach Fuzzy, the former under-20 national team men's coach, and Coach Marion Gordon, the under-17 men's coach, after the 2 catastrophic failures for World Cup qualification? So can you shed some light on the basis for the board accepting the decision to retain them within the structure of the JFF? Right? So, that's one.
Yeah. So as you're aware, one of the sports that I play very well is cricket. Well, at least I know I'm better than you in cricket. And I would prefer to leave alone, if you may allow me, because I think the appropriate person to ask would be the technical person.
Why you never answer that way? If me know say you're a cricketer now and bong say you get a while ago when me ask about it. Why you never do them, man?
To be suspect because the suspect don't know that about cricket.
Who don't know? Hey, I want to Mr. Thompson. He's a sportsman, you know.
No,
he's a bunks. He's a bunks. I'm a chew up on you know.
No, so I must say to you though. So, Carol, we were having a discussion with Carol. Because Carol is a good friend of mine, and I told her I would be on the show. So she said, big up my friend. So that's how I know that you're not just a footballer. You seem to be very rounded.
Carol, who is
So if
Carol?
Beckford.
Oh, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man.
So if I went down that road, my apology. But I'm going to leave alone because me know Oini can't play cricket like me sure.
All right. So, last
I
question,
can't play
Qatar. He
cricket.
called them a coming like flood.
Yeah, man. And the last question is the very important one. Why as a board member, are you concerned, and what actions as a board member would you want to see the JFF moving from crisis to crisis and in crisis management mode? The under 20 World Cup qualifiers, the players stuck in Honduras couldn't come back home. The Reggae girls had travel difficulties. The under 17 couldn't get there was issues with their visa waiver. Now we hear of issues with the visas and the ability of the coaching staff and some members of the women's team to get to England. As a board member, how do you intend to address this? What is your opinion on it? And what are the accountability frameworks that are there? And if you can tell us about the evaluation process, the performance evaluation, we'd love to hear about that. I'll free up the line and
Yeah, man. Big up yourself, Qatar.
Right. So, and again, I hope you appreciate that when I answer these questions,
Mm-hmm.
it should be um, how I understand it, right? As a board member. So in terms of it can't be acceptable to have these things happening from time to time. It cannot be acceptable. And as a stakeholder, I'm sure the way how you feel about it is the way how we would have felt about it. You know, and we see it, it's there, it's in the media, it's all over. One of the things though I would appreciate is the capacity and capability issue in the organization. So, and as a member of the governance commission and one who would have worked on the strategic planning process, that must be, and in fact, our first step was to engage some support from FIFA.
Hold on, yeah, break up.
We are all aware. You hear me now?
Yeah, man.
Right. That work is still happening in terms of the capacity and capability issues. I know we would have approved our structure to take on additional persons, that kind of thing, being part of because there's a governance commission based on the fact that committee was set up on the basis that we needed to provide the support to close the gap. The gap is still there, but I would expect that over time, whatever work that is being done will be fast-tracked to treat with some of these things, because these are not things that we need to be paying so much attention to. We should have systems in place to address them. So it is a concern for us.
All right. Well said. We have our next call online. Chevron Peart. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good night, Coach. Good night to all of the viewers. Good night to Mr. Thompson. We appreciate you taking the time to join the war zone, because this is really intriguing. So my first question is, I was the person that was on the show with Coach on Friday that was asking the burning questions. So, all right. So let's say you join for example, let's say you join an organization, right? You just join an imperfect organization. And when you join it, you realize that not everybody there is supportive. How would you feel as a person?
So, if you understand about, and I'm sure you understand that in any kind of business, when you join the business, there are supporters. And within that realm, there's active supporters and we have passive supporters. So, for example, I use even us on this line. No, clearly we are supporters. But it is my belief, outside of the support that we provide and the potential that we have, we could be labeled, and I say we could be labeled as a passive supporter. When the truth is, based on what I would have said earlier, what we really want to have is to engender active supporters who are actually getting their hands in the parishes to help and so forth. So I just want to define those things. We have to develop mechanism. You'll never have everybody supporting you. And that is one of the reasons why you have to have a rigorous scientific process where you can identify your stakeholders, you classify your stakeholders, and you treat with them. So, I mean, the context, I'm not sure what context you're using, but if you're treating with a project, that's how it works. You will never have everybody supporting you. But what you aim to achieve is the maximum support, and not only passive support, but persons who can get them hands in the thing and get it dirty.
Okay.
So I think it needs time. It needs time. It needs time. But one thing I see, I agree with you that it needs time, and us who understand the process, right, must understand that, because when we would have looked at our stakeholders, we have to classify them. I mean, this is done everywhere. It's not just in football. You classify them, and then you assess where they are, and then you try to get them to support you in a big way. That's how I would want to answer that question. But it does take time. It takes a level of, we have to use a lot of soft skills in terms of change management and communication. Because at the end of the day, Trevon, you have to get your stakeholders to trust you, right? And the business of trust is you have to lead by example, and you have to have the one-on-one to, engender the kind of development that we seek.
All right. Siobhan, one more question because caller coming. One more, quickly.
All right. So, pertaining to the answer, to be honest, I don't think it was really answered, to be fair. But I assume that you probably don't want to answer the question. But
no, man. No. But you asked me a question, and I'm using my experience to explain to you how it works. It works like this in every company. Yeah. It's not just the JFF. You have support, you have supporters, you have active supporters, you have passive supporters, and you have some people who will not support you at all. So you will have everybody.
Do you think the JFF has improved in its operations since the involvement of Mr. Chong within the last 6 months? Do you see any growth within the JFF at that time?
All right, Siobhan, just hang up and listen to him answering the question here, because some callers are coming.
All right, yeah, man.
All right, big up yourself. So go ahead, Mr. Thompson, answer the question.
One of the things I don't want us to focus on here is personalities. No, and I'll tell you why. No, I'll explain. No, I'll explain. And it's a serious matter. No organization can depend on one individual. What I would say, though, is that we have a governance commission that we would have established with Christopher Samuda as an independent person, and we would have seen changes somewhat, not the magnitude we would love to have, but I think it's work in progress. Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Thompson, may I hear you, man?
Right.
All right, we have our next caller online. Welcome to the show. Me see this man preaching a sermon in the comment section, and he rebuke the devourer. Welcome to the show. I am sure, boss.
Coach Vince, good evening. Good evening, Mr.
Yeah,
Wayne
man. Good
Thompson.
evening.
Good evening to the persons
I
in
was
the
in your
comment section,
town. I
including.
was in your. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I saw you, sir. I saw you and the entourage. You know,
Yes,
I
yeah.
I was upstairs with some of the names
I
that
won't
you
tell you.
mentioned.
I won't tell you my favorite team though.
Well, well, let's get here. But you know, I know there's a lot of callers, so I'm going to skip past a lot of the pedantries and just get to some of the things. So I mean, a lot of Jamaicans. I mean, just the public, maybe not the persons who have been integrally involved in football, but many Jamaicans believe that the present General Secretary has been very open and open with the issues and the challenges, and when there have been issues, he has presented himself to kind of express those things. So the question is, just as an individual, he has been in the position since November. What would be your assessment of the function of the new GenSec since November to this point?
Again, let me just say that the Mr. Chong would have. They'll have to give Mr. Chong credit based on the openness treat with the media. Because there was a time when many of us felt that we were heading in the wrong way.
Mr. Thompson, yeah, break up, man.
Hello?
Many
Yeah,
organizations
repeat what you said.
include
Repeat
them.
what you
So,
said. Mr. Thompson, repeat what you said. We lost it for a little few seconds.
No, oh, right, because I'm still driving.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm saying that in terms of the engagement of the stakeholders, we were at some point concerned about how we were treating with that. And Mr. Chong has to be credited for the level of confidence that he would have had to be in the media and engage the stakeholders, because that is critical, because we want to get the stakeholders is even to help us where they have a voice in our planning. So I am prepared to say that Mr. Chong would have done well in that regard. I mean, clearly it's a process we have to manage. But again, the conversation sometimes, can be managed if you, the members, really understand, where we're heading, and then we have the discussion around that. But I think he would have done relatively well in that regard. And
So
again,
you know,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, go
no,
ahead.
no, didn't
Sorry.
mean to interrupt you. I thought you were finished. No, man, you go ahead. I want to make sure that you're finished because I didn't want mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. You were saying again.
Right. So I'm saying though that as you are aware, to sit here and to assess Mr. Chong wouldn't be the right thing to do. But as a stakeholder myself who listen to these programs and feel that we needed to have had some visibility. I mean, that is very clear, and I think he would have done that relatively well.
Okay, all right. So I don't want yes. So I'm going to try to ask. I know the questions are to be open ended, but with that sometimes kind of take up a lot of time. So I'm trying to cram everything in a little space. But one of the things that generally is that whenever there's change in any organization, any family, any system, there's always a sort of kickback, because when people are used to a particular way of operating and any sort of thing coming, so it has been very, very evident that in terms of the technical operation of the JFF, which include the technical committee and some of the changes in terms of who can coach where and coaches being certified and how competitions have been done, a lot of things have been changing. And in the public domain, in spaces like ours, there has been a lot of persons saying that Mr. Rudolph Speed should not be in there any at all. All right, because some of the changes are affecting people. I know that you don't want to speak to a person's tenure, but these things are important. It's the same thing, the sentiment. I'm telling you what the fans out here are feeling. That the same thing is happening on Mr. Chong's side. That in terms of the general secretary, there's a lot of things that he is bringing in terms of change, and there is a kickback towards that because either the dialogue to the change isn't sufficient or the change is uncomfortable, but there's a resistance to the change. I mean, would you say that is it safe for us to go and say, well, this is happening and it can be fixed, or you can categorically say there's nothing of the sort and the JFF is one unified force seeking to change and transform football right now?
Well, I'm not going to go down that road. What I can say is that we had recognized about 2-3 years ago that we needed to establish a governance arrangement to treat with these things. In fact, it was a recommendation that came from FIFA when we had engaged them. And they came, they assisted us, and there were some recommendations. Some of these recommendations are being implemented over the last 2 years. And as I said to you, Mr. Samuda, Christopher Samuda, having done the work in setting up the professional body, that's the PFJL, would have been spearheading some of these changes. So again, the committee that is driving this was approved by the very board, which would suggest to me that the committee would want to have the changes and things that are being implemented. The board have been very receptive to it. So I would prefer to speak on those facts that we have in relation to the governance.
Right.
Because many persons don't understand that the governance plays a major part in the transformation of the organization, and that has been happening for some time now, because there are some recommendations that are on the table. Plus, we recognize that we needed to do some more engagement to have a more elaborate plan to treat with some of these capacity issues.
One last question, Manning.
If I ask you the question, yeah, because what happens is that when I ask the question, if you can't go down the road, don't get in the vehicle, because you went in the vehicle that is going down the road and you see my time run out. So let me ask you this one. How important it is, right, in this particular time, in the football, the Women's World Cup coming up, World Cup coming up, that there be a unified federation, because there are sentiments out there, true or not, that there are divisions, different levels of the JFF, and is that healthy? I mean, based on where the football is at now, a new coach in place. I mean, like I said, the girls go into the World Cup. I mean, I listen to your answer because I love to know where you stand in terms of the unity in the JFF, or is there division among the ranks of persons in the leadership of the administrator?
You can't hang up and let him answer, Mannings.
Yeah, so let me answer it this way.
Yeah, man, respect.
Let me answer it this way. No organization will ever feel comfortable when we're having these issues. Because remember, that didn't start here. Some of these issues didn't start here. And we remember, again, the board is not directly involved in the administrative part of it. But we do recognize that there's a capacity issue. You're going to have different views on how we treat with certain things. But as things, we're all at one, that these issues, shouldn't continue because it doesn't help the football and it doesn't engender confidence. But I want to state that some of these issues are having, that is the start now. Many of them, we had them previously.
Well, Mr. Thompson, people them have you in the comment section. Qatar come tell you say you're a good computer person and you say you're a cricketer. So one sec have you as a Mr. Bouncer. I guess you're a fast bowler, so you know if you bounce or duck the question them. And then one sec have you as the pop-up blocker stopper. So you know you're setting on your computer is set up in such a way that no pop-ups can come through.
So where I want you to protect me, but where I want you to protect me though.
Uh-huh.
You know that in terms of good governance,
Uh-huh.
you can't just come on the show.
No man, I know, Mr. Thompson.
Great.
But at the same time, it's best if you say, yeah, leave alone, as the cricketer you are, rather than giving us a soliloquy that is nothing near towards the answer to the question. So, better you give us one of your cricket chat and leave alone. Like Courtney Walsh, them fancy one there, and leave alone. But we have Stan Cranky online. He's here to ask you some questions. Welcome, Cranky.
Good night, Minzy. How you doing?
Not too bad, How are you?
I'm good. So before I ask the question, I'm going to make a comment. It's actually very disappointing to hear someone on the JFF board says that there is passive support for a person in an executive position in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you hire someone new in a role, it's probably heresy to hear that that person doesn't have the full active support of person on the board. Now, as time progresses, if performance is not up to standard, then yes, that support may waver because you realize that maybe the person doesn't have the capability for the job. But to say at the outset, in fact, I thought I was watching this is a football program, not a political program. It's not the Jamaica Parliament. Yes, there's some questions you can answer given the nature of it, but we can't evade questions, so it's so evasive in the process. So the first point I want to make is soliloquy. I'm disappointed to hear that comment, because I don't think any board in any organization should ever say they don't support a CEO that's new, in football a GenSec that new. That doesn't make sense to me. And it sounds like it's an old boy network. Go ahead.
Can I clarify that point? Research would have shown. So I'm not speaking now based on Wayne Thompson. You can do the research.
Right.
But research would have shown that especially when you're treating with projects, serious projects, you're gonna have supporters who are passive. And I was speaking about the board. We're talking about support. I think the gentleman asked about support generally. You're gonna have passive support. You're gonna have active support. You're gonna have those who are neutral, and you're gonna have those who don't support at all. That's the literature I would have provided. So it's not my theory.
We weren't talking about a white constituent. We're talking about my comment was about the board, not a white constituent of various parties of interest. I'm talking about the board of itself. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, so I think when the question was asked, though, so I want to just clarify that that is how it works, and over time, that is the mechanism that would use for us to understand, where we are and the kind of interventions that are needed to treat with those things. But it's not just about the JFF alone. This is a standard thing right across the world, outside and inside football.
Yeah, well, maybe we function in two different worlds. I function in the same corporate world you do in time, so maybe we function in different worlds. My question is going to be, though, around how would you rate the JFF board's performance to date? Because most of those members have been there for a long time. You mentioned about change management quite a bit. And even your organization, the parishes support, you don't seem to have a good change management process because you've been in that role for a long time. So how would you rate the JFF's performance? And why is it that change management is not inherent in how the JFF or your parish operate?
Right. So I would say change management it's relatively new to our environment, really, and especially football. And I do agree that we need to apply a little bit more, but we also need the knowledge to drive that process. I think we will get there, but where we are now, it is really work in progress. And I know that in terms of the results that we would love to see, it's gonna be a function of our ability to drive a lot of these programs using the change management and communication strategy. Which yes, I would admit that this is one of the weak areas that we need to treat with.
So what are you doing to materially change that? Because you can't have consistency and continuity unless you're grooming people to assume position, unless you have succession planning, and you're managing key person dependency. So what are you doing to change that construct?
Right. So as I said to you, there are recommendations that would have been made by the consultant that provided us the support initially. But there's also the governance arrangement, the governance commission being chaired by Mr. Samoda. Currently, we're looking at the environment to see how we can establish a recommendation that will help to close some of these gaps in a quick time, because we do understand and appreciate that these are some of the challenges that we have.
Here's my last question. What's the evaluation process for the board? If board members are not executing their responsibilities in accordance with your mandate, how do they get removed from your organization? And do you have ways of thinking about how you replace them? Go ahead.
No, let's not look at it that way. Let's look at it, and the question is a valid question. If you ask me if the assessment of the board needs to be improved, I would say yes, radically. And the reason for that is we have to be a little bit more aggressive in how we treat with our plans and how we set our targets. And remember, I said that one of the things we have to do, and one of the reasons for this important engagement, is that we have to have at some point in time stakeholders like you in the process and others on this forum. And then once those plans are established, it is expected that would have a monitoring system that would treat with not just the board, but it would go right through the organization. Currently, that is one of the deficiencies in terms of our performance management system, but we're fully aware that it has to be addressed. And I'm aware the governance commission, that's one of the urgent items on the agenda.
Okay, well, I know I've taken up enough time, Lindsay, but I look forward to some of these changes that you're indicating.
Yeah, and I must say,
someplace. I don't know where, if they're in the dark or if they're going to come to light, but hopefully they materialize.
No, and the thing about it, you're right to ask if they're in the dark, because one thing that I would say to you is that we probably needed to be a little bit more open in the engagement, not just now, a long time, but Mr. Samoda, in his wisdom and the leadership, recognizes that as part of that, in fact, we have a plan for the engagement, and it will get there.
All right,
Cranky. Big up yourself. We have more callers coming in. Big up yourself, Cranky. All right, so we have. I'm gonna try and get back this caller. This caller has been calling, Mr. Thompson. Oh, the caller no want to get through. The caller gone on call. Oh, you free up now. All right, look like.
Night.
Yes, Black Prince. Big up yourself.
Yes, Mr. Thompson still online?
Yeah, man, he's still here. Go ahead with your question.
Mr. Thompson, thank you.
I may get cut off. But you call me back. I'll log on, because right here is kind of bad. For the next 2 minutes or so, it will be bad. Just in case you're not hearing me.
All right. Quickly ask a question.
Okay. All right, Mr. Thompson. Just welcome to the coaches desk. Welcome to the family. All right. A family of football and other sports. I would have listened to your prelude, and you spoke about. I would ask you to remind me though. You spoke about some of your supporting cast in St. Thomas there. Could you remind me of his name I think you spoke about him regarding his astuteness in technology. Is he maybe
Hello?
your secretary or your vice president or something?
No,
What's his name?
sorry about that. Go ahead. Go. Sorry, I didn't.
You in
You
your
got cut
prelude,
off a bit. Well,
yeah, I said in your prelude you'd have identified one of your supporting cast there in St. Thomas, and you spoke highly about this person.
right.
Could you remind could you remind us who is that person and what capacity he supports the St. Thomas Football Association?
St. Thomas. I can't recall. Maybe you could remember. I don't remember. St. Thomas.
No,
You spoke to him.
you said
You
that you had
identified the
somebody
person
in the
as some.
federation that assists you. That is very good technologically. He was
Oh yes,
asking me to remind him.
right. So yes, I would say the general secretary, the treasurer, based on some of the work they would have done. So, for example, treasurer would have implemented and integrated.
Okay, all right. No, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand. So I just want to know. So, what is your assessment of that person there that assisted you over the years in terms of his contribution to St. Thomas football? What is your assessment? I'm just one of those person who love who is engaged in the St. Thomas Football Association. What is
Well,
your assessment of that person?
from the assessment of the people, he has always been re-elected for the last 3 years. And when we do our own assessment as a board, yes, there are issues, there are shortcomings, but we try to treat with it. So that is one of the things that we would have done from time to time, at the end of the year. But again, remember there's the political side where, because he's really a director, as a treasurer, and his ultimate acceptance would be the confidence that the people would have showed by returning him.
Okay, so so I'm asking you, what confidence do you have, having worked with him or her over the year? What confidence you have in that person
Well,
going forward?
yes, the person, I would think, based on my personal interactions, would have done well. But again, as I said to you, it's really not
All right,
about
yeah,
me.
and
It's not about me.
because we are lack of time, I can accept that answer. All right, I'm going forward with my following question. How long have you
Right.
been the president for the St. Thomas Football Association?
From 2009.
Okay. All right. In your opinion, what is the general role and responsibility for the JFF General Secretary?
That is in the constitution, to manage the administrative affairs of the organization. So he's like the CEO of the organization.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you now, as you have rightly and eloquently give us an assessment of the individual that you spoke about, that is immediately attached to the St. Thomas Association, and having been at the St. Thomas Association level, you would have served a number of JFF General Secretaries. Now, with that in mind and that expertise, I'm going to ask you this, sir. What is your general assessment of Mr. Chong's role and responsibility having placed in this position thus far? And I'm not speaking, and the question I'm asking you is not the views of the others. I'm asking you your view, and just as though you're just sat in capacity, you could give me the view of that, which is closer assigned to you in St. Thomas, and with the experience you have had over the years, and I've served under a number of general secretary, and now having understood the role and responsibility of a JFF general secretary, I am asking you, thus far, what is your assessment of Mr. Chong?
So let's create the context again.
And I'll hang up on this for you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Black Prince.
Right. So I want to create the context again. The gentleman I spoke about, he would return on the confidence of at our annual general meetings or voting meetings. And in relation to Mr. Chong, I think it would be inappropriate for one board member, no matter who the person is, to go and give an opinion on a general secretary to compromise our entire process.
Oh. Really? So if you give your opinion on Mr. Chong's operation, that compromise the process?
We cannot. No, but think about.
Is that a policy? Is that a policy?
No, it's not a policy. That's what I would think is good governance. You think about it, Here's a board that is established to appoint the general secretary and to assess the general secretary. What kind of governance would it be, especially being part of the governance commission, to provide an individual, whether it be me or somebody else, an individual assessment of the employee? Is that a policy? Hello?
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you, man.
Right, no, that would be appropriate.
All right, we have a call online. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, greetings to you, Coach, and all the listeners.
Yeah, man.
Greetings to Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, I'm going to try to be quick because I know, for time's sake. How long have you been a board member, and what was the... Answer that first, if you don't mind.
So, being the parish president, you would automatically become a board member. But remember that has changed.
So we have 13...
So I've been there from 2009. Okay. 2009.
2009? Yeah, and so what we now? About 14 years?
14 years, yeah.
Yeah, how is your assessment? How are you assessed? How is your performance assessed?
So, as I said to you, you mean as a board?
Yeah, as a board member.
Right. Board member.
Yeah, but so remember I said to you that there's a weakness in our system which the governance review has recognized, and we're trying to implement a proper system where everybody can be accountable. So if you ask,
so there's no accountability for you.
So we don't have a formal system at this time to treat with our performance. Yes.
Yeah, remember he told us that he was gonna go to an area that is bad.
Oh, okay.
So he might be at that space right now.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, man, we just start here back. Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, man. So remember I said initially that there's a weakness there in terms of the evaluation of the board, but it's being addressed by it's part of the recommendation of the governance, that initial report, plus there's other recommendations that we're looking at as Mr. Samuda seek to, kind of deal with some of these issues. Because yes, it is an issue and it has to be treated with.
All right. You understand that there's a perception of the JFF amongst us, the fans, that is not a good one. You understand that, right?
Yes. And there are reasons for it also.
Yeah, but what have you and the board done to rectify?
Right. So.
Or is that too broad a question for you?
No. So I see where you're going, but remember now that there are two situations you have to deal with, like out in the fire and treating with the long-term situation, because a lot of these things that are happening now is really a result of not having certain system right across the board. As I've said, the governance would be treated with some of these medium to long term, but we would have assessed, because remember now each committee would submit a report every quarter, and they would have highlighted their own recommendations. So some of these things we have made recommendations to treat with them, and administratively, as you would be aware, the General Secretary would provide his own support or guidance, while also dealing with the administrative part, because as you know, the CEO would be the one to treat with some of these operational issues.
Okay.
But
one last question.
But one of the things I sense, and it would be one of my strongest recommendations, just based on the questions that are being asked. Because if I'm not able to treat with these questions and fix them in terms of my personal recommendation, then I think we would have missed an opportunity. It's just we have to, and I may have said it before, we have to engage the stakeholders a lot more in our planning process. You know, we have to, because I would have seen it.
And the stakeholders, you mean?
So people like you.
The stakeholders, you mean? Okay.
So people like you and the group you represent. Because remember, you don't care about what happens internally. You don't care. You care, and we have to pay attention to this, to the outcomes. And the outcomes, team qualification, how well we are doing, how we treat with players, and that is fine.
No, man, we care about what happens inside too.
No, yes, but I'm saying most people would want to think that the outcome, because no matter the excuses you may have on a particular issue, we as stakeholders, because remember I'm a stakeholder too in many situations, you don't want nobody to come and tell a story, which some of these stories are sometimes valid stories, but it becomes very frustrating to us as the client. It happens everywhere. So I do understand and appreciate the situation that we're having here, even with this conversation.
Yeah. All right. I have one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The technical committee recommends to the board hiring and firings of national coaches. When I say national coach, I mean under 17, under 20, up to the senior level. That's the purpose of the technical committee, which Mr. Speed is a chairman of, right?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, Mr. Ohene Blake asked you a question in regards to the under 17 and the under 20 coach retaining their position, and you refer Mr. Ohene Blake back to technical. If the technical committee is only responsible to recommend hiring and firing, and then the board does the hiring and firing, why would you refer him back to the technical committee on that if they cannot hire and fire?
I think I'd left that alone,
Yeah, so he's asking Mr. Thompson, why would you leave that alone when it is the final decision is with the board? The board either accept the recommendation by the technical committee or throw it out. So why wouldn't you be able to answer the question? So that's what this caller is asking,
Yeah, I mean, if you throw it out or you want to retain the coaches, just tell us that. But don't refer us back to the technical committee.
Because you give the final answer.
Right.
Yeah, but as I said to you,
you're still leaving alone.
Yes, I want to leave alone.
Okay. All right.
So we haven't learned anything, Mr. Thompson. All due respect, I mean, I don't know what your purpose of coming on this program, but I feel like I've been listening from the program started. I feel like I haven't learned anything, honestly. I just don't feel like I learned anything. I mean, all the questions I've been asked seem to, not being directly answered. And so us, the fans, are left here feeling more frustrated. And the perception is still out there because you haven't done anything on this platform to fix, to improve the perception of us, the people.
Right, but
I'll leave with that. You can.
yeah, the perception that cannot just change like that, though. You know, it's a process. It's really a
Yeah,
process.
but I think all right.
No man, when questions
For
are
me
answered, you know, when transparency is there with the fans, Mr. Thompson, the fans
Right.
leave with the unanswered questions being answered. And
Right,
there and then the perception can be changed in a
but
snap of a finger.
But as I said to you, my friend, some of the questions that we are asking, again, we are guided by proper governance. You don't expect me to answer some of those questions, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, but all these some of them are simple questions, you know. And I mean, you are a member of the board, and I thought you came on here to clarify some things for us, but I don't feel
about
anything
St. Thomas.
is
About the initial thing was about St. Thomas. Some of these things slipped in.
Okay. All right, coach. I'm gonna leave and let other people get a chance.
Yeah, man. Big
Thank
up
you very
yourself,
much.
Peter.
All right, cool.
All right, so we have one last call that we're gonna be taking before we close off the show. Mr. Thompson, we appreciate your coming, but as you can hear the sentiment of the caller, you understand? So, and I know your governance thing. You don't want to, you know,
No, it's not him
put
don't
certain
want
things
to.
out there.
But
Some of them,
is what is appropriate.
yeah, but it still don't want to because it's appropriate. So anyway, you take it as the same thing.
All right, boss. All right.
All right. So we have Robert online, the last caller for the night before we close out the show. Robert, go ahead.
Yes, good night.
Oh, I must tell you, Mr. Thompson, this man have him baseball bat, you know. So yeah, man, me make sure I tell you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Robert.
Good night, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Yes. Tell me something. How do you feel about the previous GenSec?
So again, as I said to you, let's not go down that kind of road with these conversations. I would prefer if we don't go down that road. I've said it. It's not about how I feel.
All right, Mr. Thompson.
Yeah.
Since I beat on the bush, you know what answer. Weren't you on Manning's Man program the other day?
Right.
Weren't you on Manning's Man program bigging up the previous GenSec? So why aren't you not bigging him up tonight?
No, sir. What I did was to say that the governance committee.
Mr. Thompson, don't lie. The tape is there to hear. All over, you were there saying that you were praising the work of the previous GenSec, and you are a supporter of that GenSec. That's the reason why.
Oh my word, Mr. Thompson. And them something I go on.
No, sir.
Are you afraid to answer the question?
No, so let me clarify.
That's the reason why you cannot answer the question that the people have been asking you about, Mr. Chong. Because listen, Mr. Thompson, I have listened to all the social media. I have been on all of them. So I don't make things slip up when I hear things.
Right.
I hear you on that program, bigging up the previous GenSec with Mr. Samuda, and since night you have been avoiding the question about Mr. Chong. Obviously, you are not with Mr. Chong.
So let me just say what I said, and you probably could get the tape. But it's not about personalities, as I said to you. I did say that the governance commission was formed under the previous general secretary. The board would have given the approval, and the general secretary would have been the one to have been working with that governance commission. It was an assessment of the general secretary, and I treat with principles. I really could not have gone down that road to assess the general secretary in that regard. It's really not my place.
So Robert, how you respond
Mr.
to that?
Thompson.
Because sound like you bring false
Mr.
information in Robert.
No, Mr. Thompson is lying, coach. He
Really?
was on
No,
the
no.
program.
Look
He
here.
was
No,
on
but
the
that's no. But
program.
hold on.
Oh.
That is where I would
He-
certainly want us to
He
manage.
was
No.
on the program bigging up the Gensec.
Mr. Chairman, I would love for you.
Yeah, man.
to-
Go. Hold on, Robert. Hold on. You accuse him of being a liar, so he has to defend himself. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
No, I'm saying that is most inappropriate to have formed that conclusion on the basis that I would have provided information in terms of the governance, right? And that it was under the previous General Secretary. That's a factual thing. It has nothing to do with whether the General Secretary performed well or not.
So in other words, you weren't highlighting. So that you see, we really have to have clarity here in terms of where the question was coming from, because if Robert's saying that and you are saying that, it has to really come to some sort of a clear cut thing where the initial question was coming from, because I think Robert's interpretation, Mr. President, is once you're talking to about somebody doing this and bringing in something into fruition, then to him, I'm probably thinking that he's interpreting that as you bigging up the individual. Am I right, Robert?
But
Exactly, coach. Exactly.
You're right.
But we have to be consistent though, because I said.
So it's just a context I would want to really where the question came from and your answer. So I didn't watch the show, so I'm not getting the context. But what I'm getting, Mr. President, is that Robert is basically saying that once you start to say that coach's desk or Coach Minzy did this in previous tenure, then his interpretation is that you're bigging up coach's desk.
So we have to be consistent though, because I did say that it was under General Secretary's tenure, and if you apply that principle, I also did say that Mr. Chong has done relatively well with respect to the level of communication with the YouTubers. I did say that.
But then you put a caveat on it. Remember, you plug it with a caveat,
Yes.
So it's like you're using the sandwiching method.
No, man, you can't.
Yes, Mr. Thompson. You said I'm talking about what I heard tonight on this show. You made mention of that. Then you said that, but he has to be careful and you have to be very whatever about coming on these platforms.
No, I said these communications.
Right. So that's what I'm just not using the same term, but you understand what I'm saying.
Right, but guys, look, we have to be open. We have to be open here now.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Thompson, didn't
Yes,
you
man, I'm
say
here.
on the program? Didn't you say on the program that these social media are the people cussing out the previous Gensec, but we don't know the good job that he was doing? Didn't you say that?
But as I said, I did not present a
Mr.
position.
Thompson, answer the question. Is that yes?
No, hold on.
No, don't raise a voice, Robert. Just ask the question and man, just relax, Robert.
Right.
You're asking some good questions, so you still have to relax.
Right. So I'm saying I did not present a position in terms of the performance of the gentleman.
Yes,
I could
did,
not
Mr.
do that
Thompson.
as an individual. I can't. That would not make sense. That would be good governance.
You said that we YouTuber been cussing out him, and he's been doing a good job. So that tells me that you were supporting the previous Gensec.
No, that would be irresponsible for you to have gone on that road.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, the country is there to hear and judge you people. But I would want one request from you, Mr. Thompson. I would need you to step down off the board and let somebody who is capable to take the position.
No, man. So remember I said to you
Because
that. Remember I said to you I'm not returning. I did say that. Maybe you weren't listening to the program.
okay, well you need to go, Mr. Thompson,
No
and
problem.
you need to take whosoever else is who been, because you people are letting down our football in our country. You people are mashing up our football because it's all about your and on a pocket, not about Jamaican people
No, no,
football.
and that those kind of comments, I won't sit here and continue with this level of
Right, but I agree with you, Mr. Thompson. But you have to defend that.
No, no,
You have to dispel. You have to dispel it. You have to dispel it.
but I said it from the start, the
Mm-hmm.
very start, that the board that I know, the board that
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of, right? We cannot just go about spending monies as we would have wanted to, and people putting monies in their pockets as we
Okay.
would have put it. That I don't understand. I don't understand. Remember, the business of financial management, it rests with the committee, which would make recommendation to the board, and then that spend would be done by the accounts department. I don't know if any board members putting monies in their pockets, and that those kind of accusations, I think we need to manage them.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I want you to dispel it. You're here. So I prefer if you dispel it because we don't know. And you said you're speaking for St. Thomas. So I want you to speak for St. Thomas.
So, St.
And
Thomas,
categorically tell us that what Robert is saying, it is facetious.
definitely that. Out of place, I would say.
Okay, Mr. Thompson. Coach, big up yourself.
Big up yourself, Robert. Big up yourself. And Mr. Thompson, these are the things that the people are having challenges with. And that's why I ask you to dispel it if it is not so. Because when you leave it hanging without defending it, you might hang up and leave the call. Then people are going to leave believing.
Yeah,
The
man.
same reason.
I don't have no proof of those, and that don't happen.
No, I don't want you to speak for everybody, Mr. Thompson.
No. So I said I don't have any proof, and
Right.
that definitely don't have to St. Thomas.
Okay. So the more you talk for St. Thomas, because I'm not sure if anybody else is gonna be talking for you. So you have to defend yourself at this time. But I mean, these are some of the things that come up in conversations like these, Mr. Thompson, of misappropriation of funds.
Right.
And you are saying that, well, Cataract did come on and say you're a man of integrity.
Right.
So with what Cataract say, we have to give you a pass. Well, I'm giving you a pass. I don't know about, I can't speak for the people. You understand? But one thing before you go, Mr. Thompson, and I said it earlier in the conversation,
Right.
I believe that with the wealth of knowledge and experience that you'd have gathered over the years being a part of the board and being a parish president, I believe that you'd have failed to have some sort of succession planning. And you did agree to it earlier, but I think I have to drive it home because with you leaving now, it might leave a void in football in St. Thomas. And then you as the experienced person will still have to be given guidance to whoever goes in. And
No,
what
so
if that person goes in does not want to hear from you with the wealth of experience? So
Yeah,
you see where the thing is not skewed properly, Mr. Thompson?
So let me clarify. 4 years ago, I felt at that time,
Mm-hmm.
I could not have left at that time. But I'm saying where we are now. I did say that, where we are now.
No, you said that you wanted to leave, but the people.
4 years.
The
4 years
people.
ago.
Right,
Yeah,
and you
4
said the
years ago.
people. You did not say you did not want to leave at that time. You said the
Yeah.
people asked you not to leave.
Right, and I did say to you that, remember, I did admit that there was work I needed to have done in terms of fixing the succession part of it.
Yes, you did say that. But like I said, I have to drive it home again, because I think it is one of the failures of not only football in Jamaica, and you can agree with me in anything that has to do with governance in the country.
Right, and which is why I said that is one of the areas, because I see it as a weakness on my part, and one of the reasons why the negotiation wasn't difficult, because I knew we needed to. It's not that it never exists any at all, but I felt that there's more I could have done. But I think where we are now, we're in a better place.
All right. Listen now, Mr. Thompson. I don't want when we call you back on the program to come, because the environment might seem hostile, and I would suspect that you can see and understand where the people, the fans, the 12th man is coming from. Where over the years, football is not run in the way that they believe that it should run.
Right.
So this is not a personal attack.
No, man.
This is just a governance attack.
No.
In terms of what is happening in terms of operation of football.
So, which is why where I could answer questions nationally, I tried. But I do understand the mood of the stakeholders. And if I don't appreciate that, then something is wrong.
Right.
You have to encourage your clients to complain. And clearly, there are issues. There have been issues. We would see it in the media. And it is not my style to run away. Because one of the things I want to do is to see how I can translate this now into a greater level of productivity through some partnerships. Because the interest is clearly here. The interest is clearly here. So you still talk about passive supporters and active supporters. Those are some of the things that we can treat with. And it's not a bad thing, because the supporters, to have supporters is good. It's just that, some persons would, get their hands dirty to make a difference. While others, clearly, while they support the process, that level of involvement is not there.
We want to see visible change, Mr. Thompson, and if the people, if things are being done in your federation and it is not being said in the wider public, in the media, you have these platforms that you can come on and talk about what is happening. You might not get the opportunity to go on the traditional media, but we are here. We discuss football for hours. You understand? Straight football. So if there's transformation and if there's progress, if you not tell we're not gonna know.
Yeah. So right, and which is why I said that it's just to probably ramp up some of these things now as far as the governance is concerned. There are issues to be treated with, but as I said to you, there are serious capacity issues, and I do believe if we stay focused on these things, working together, and it's not about just us internally. It is also the external stakeholders like yourself who have this level of passion, and it's just a matter of translating this now. And I'm sure once you have confidence in us, the narrative will be different.
And that is the key thing coming out of this conversation. Confidence.
Right.
And you can understand why Robert uttered why he uttered, because of whether he's right or not, it is because of the lack of confidence.
Right.
Why people are moved to say things. Because you not answering certain questions, Mr. Thompson, that would have given the fans an idea of where your headspace is. So they deduct and they deduce what this Mr. Thompson is about from St. Thomas.
No, it's more you have to appreciate the governance and some of the things
and like I said, I would understand that, some folks will understand, but because of what has been occurring over a period of time, they look past that.
I know.
So you have to see with the fans again.
But it's not a criticism, I am saying I know we're gonna get there now, but I have to lay it out squarely so that you can at least understand what is important for me is to be very consistent, because again, if I'm inconsistent when I come on these shows, then that will raise serious issues. And not just me. What you really want to have is a certain level of consistency that people can look forward to these things being said, and not only being said but being done.
Right.
That is what I am prepared to do for the limited time that I have, especially for St. Thomas.
All right. First and foremost, we really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to share on what is happening in St. Thomas. The platform is always available. Like I said, if things are progressing and there are changes, you have to let the people know. Because when they don't know, they're going to treat it as nothing. There's no progress. So before you go, Mr. Thompson, any final words that you want to share with the fans? Very important part of football, the fans.
Right. So as I say, I hear the sentiments. Remember, this is not my first time here. I've always been on the show, and I've been liking it also. Not just this platform, all platforms.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
Right. So the conversation, it didn't start here now.
Yes.
And but I'm saying what is needed in my mind is for us to take it while we're treating with some of these issues that are happening. It's really about us engaging the stakeholders at a greater level to plan our football. To plan our football. That is where I see us, contributing in a greater way without compromising your own position with respect to these issues that we're having, and you speak about them accordingly.
All right. Big up yourself, Mr. Thompson. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show, on the panel, because you say you normally watch the show. Much respect to that. Well, we expect to see more from St. Thomas with the little time that you have. And I trust that in the little time that you have, if you could get somebody to mentor and pass on some of the knowledge, so that...
No, man, we have started that, You keep saying that, but remember we said that was 4 years ago. We have gone past that. So I am pretty confident now that I can leave the organization and it will be sustainable.
All right, fair enough. All right, take care, and I hope that you reach home safely.
Yeah, man, I'm here now. All the very best, and thanks to you and the listeners and viewers.
Yeah, man, big up yourself. All right.
Right.
So, there you have it, people. There you have it. I mean, some people unhappy because some of the questions were not answered. First responder not too pleased. You understand? Trust level. You see Richard. Oh, my trust level for increase, and not all the questions were able to be answered. Can't increase. Negative. So, viewers, subscribers, just like up the stream before you leave here, man. Although I know someone don't like it, because big up on yourself, people. Thanks very much for tuning in. I wish that we could have gotten more from this little chat with Wayne Thompson. But nevertheless, it's a stepping stone. He's here or he came. So you never know. You understand? So big up on yourself. Jaja, Mr. United, big up yourself, you know. Big up yourself. You are a real baller. Come out swinging and me just watch you know. A swing and a drop in the mud. You understand? But I saw it always go bad. Lolo, big up yourself. Omar McFarlane, big up yourself. People, there you have it. We try to bring these people to you so that you can know what is happening. MPEG 7 for interview Michael Ricketts next. Boy, I don't know if Mr. Ricketts will come on the show. People afraid of these environment, you know. Yeah. But we're going to see what we can do, MPEG. You understand? So, big up on yourself, people. Stay safe. Until next time. Peace. Out.
Your style and your flavor make the city rock. They must say the season come out with a bang. Coach Minzy, best round here. Remember that.